Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Tech Frenzy. In today's video, we have a lot to discuss, whether that's through SoFi, Amazon, Google, ChatGPT, and the likes with NVIDIA, Coinbase, Shark Ninja. I mean, hey, we got things to cover. If you guys like those types of topics, stick around. If you don't, you should stick around anyway. I mean, come on, give me some support. All right, let's jump into it. We're also going to be talking about a little bit of other financial news. Capital One, Netflix, some of these names had earnings. I was going to go live and actually listen in on the Netflix call. However, YouTube decided to do something a little bit interesting. We'll talk about that here in just 1 second once I bring up this thing. There we go. So YouTube decided to do something fun. They ended up pulling down my SoFi video automatically from a bunch of, trolls flagging my video for talking about that I'm promoting guaranteed returns or a scam. Now, this scam or promotion, whatever, was just my SoFi Q3 predictions video. Now, if you guys listen to this show often, will know I never tell you guys what to do with your investments. Okay? I'm talking about what I'm doing with my position, and my exaggerated or my excited title was not exaggerated because I think that there's, we're going from 31 cents of EPS, and I think that's going to go to 38 cents. To beat on Wall Street in a full year by over 20+% is a huge deal. Only the best of the best companies end up doing that. Okay. So sorry. My video ended up getting pulled down for about 20 minutes and then recovered once a human reviewed it for less than 10 minutes. I had appealed the video for less than 10 minutes before they actually approved it. Okay. The video's not even 10 minutes long. Or sorry, it's more than 10 minutes long. So they didn't even have time to watch the video and actually appeal it. So what I think happened is that, they probably took a look at the people that were reporting. They probably were not watching the video for very long, and they probably saw some sort of system of trolls that ended up doing this. Hopefully they flagged my account for potential human review going forward. I'd like them to make that decision, not some automated system. But there's a lot of creators that face this sort of problem. What I think is very interesting, though, I don't see a lot of creators going through this type of problem. I haven't heard of Amit having this problem. I haven't heard of Couch Investor having this problem. I haven't heard of, many creators having this type of problem. But there's been two creators that have had this problem in the last week. The Stock Goat on YouTube, and then myself. Two people that are talking about SoFi and are bullish on the company. Okay. Now, at the first time, whenever I saw Stock Goat, I said, hey, like, maybe, you can't tell people to buy now. And he has this term like buy now, cry later, stuff like this. I mean, I've got nothing against the Stock Goat. He's awesome. But I could see potentially why there could be claims that people would say, hey, those are a problem. But yet his was appealed and nothing was wrong. And I thought, oh my gosh, how could it be possible that mine is pulled down as well on the same name and everything? I am not conspiratorial about SoFi, but I find it extremely interesting that two SoFi creators are constantly getting pulled down. Very interesting. I don't know if it's shorts, whatever have you, but like, obviously, if there is hundreds of millions of dollars on these types of names, I do find that, not out of the question that they could have some sort of bot program or something like this. But that's super speculative. I'm putting that at like a 0.5% chance, okay? Like 0.5%. I want to think that it's just annoying people on the internet, but I just found it very weird that it was under the same category of creator, I guess. So with this type of pull down by YouTube, usually I love Google and would talk about the stock and say nice things, but instead, I don't want to do that today because they killed my video and it was doing well, and I put a lot of work into it. So, yeah, ChatGPT showed off a browser. Let's talk about this then. I'm not going to have any music. YouTube gets mad at me for that, so we're going to play it nice. But meet ChatGPT Atlas. Right now, this browser is only available for Mac OS, but you can type things in like a browser, go to something like Verbo, and help essentially use ChatGPT alongside those regular websites. Are there good hikes nearby for this specific, rental spot? Yes, there is. Starts to answer through. Gotta love it. Now, do I think that this is an end for Google? No. I mean, I'm trolling a little bit whenever I say, hey, because they made me upset, now we're watching this ChatGPT thing. This was actually announced today. It just happened to be convenient timing for me for that joke. But I think that Gemini is going to do this almost immediately, that they are going to allow you to take action from Google Chrome, that you're going to be able to search and use the browser like you would here. Can you go out and find these shopping products? So he's not the one that's using the mouse on the browser right now. It's ChatGPT. ChatGPT is looking for the best options, literally using the computer a way a human would. Hopefully at a faster response time, gets you to answers quicker, but yeah. So ChatGPT Atlas. Will you guys use it? I thought it was interesting that it was Mac OS. I think that's mainly because, going up against competition like Safari or something, I mean, they might have good results there, but going up against Google Chrome might not be the best immediately. Now, that's just their browser, and people are getting quite excited about this. But on the app side, have we hit sort of a peak in results? Might look like it. According to some new looks into their daily active users and everything, it looks like ChatGPT's growth might have stalled over the last month. Yes, they did also just recently talk about going from 700 million up to 800 million, but now we're starting to see signs that it's not just completely up and away. Is this going to be anything that is worrisome to CapEx growth, to ChatGPT private investment in general? Is this bullish for Google? Every report that I've seen for market share on ChatGPT is that market share is actually going down, and names like Gemini are very quickly increasing. They actually doubled their market share for Gemini specifically, for ChatGPT, for chat like LLM models. For that's, what do you call it? I'm saying the same thing twice, like an oxymoron. But yeah, anyway, Gemini's doubling in that field. Let's go ahead and take a look at that market share gain, if we haven't already, from yesterday. But yeah, I'm still absolutely very bullish on Google. What's so funny is this ChatGPT report came out, and this had sunk Google stock whenever they showed off this live stream. I'm not worried about it at all. And then in the after hours here, you see this large spike up because Anthropic is potentially looking at a deal with Google worth, quote unquote, tens of billions of dollars. Potentially negative on Amazon stock, considering Anthropic is their largest customer, but very, very bullish for Google if that ends up going through. So little sink from Google.com or search potential decreases, just worries though, nothing concrete. And we've seen enough worries at Google to potentially fend off some of those worries. And then a real bump due to, once again, speculation, but probably something that's more likely to actually, make a real dollar change to the bottom line. Trump tweet, what? Tanner, what's cracking, baby? Put more money in SoFi today. Yeah, I didn't, but yeah, that's awesome if you did. Congrats. I retired at 53. I'm 58 and about to take retirement to the next level. Gotta love that, eh? Billy Jack being a big supporter today. Thank you so much, Billy, and making sure that whenever the video actually got pulled down, that you rewatched it to try to put it back in the algorithm. That was very nice of you. If you guys haven't seen my prediction video, it's quite good. I would like to say so myself. You don't have to agree with the predictions, but hopefully you can agree with the way that I got there. Obviously, there still is assumptions baked in there, but with things like the amount of downloads and the website traffic that we're end up seeing, these are multiple different reports from different data aggregators that are all saying that SoFi is seeing the most amount of traffic they've ever seen. Pretty interesting. Where is it? On my YouTube page. Don't watch it now. I mean, you're already watching me. But yeah, thanks, B-dubs. We're slowly starting to recover on the video, but it did take a big hit from being falsely flagged for guaranteeing returns. And no, like, you guys find me the quote. Please clip out the quote where I'm guaranteeing any returns. I'm just saying, hey, I'm bullish on the company and I think it's going to go up later on. It's my own personal investment journey. I don't know how many times I say this live or in videos, like, I'm just a guy, okay? Don't believe me. I've never asked you guys to say, hey, you know what? Put all faith into this guy. I'm no oracle, okay? This is what I'm doing, my data, trying to figure out this investing thing, as best I can. But in no way does what I say go. Peter Lynch has a very great quote: the stock doesn't know you own it. So just because I own SoFi means F all, okay? Customers are going to choose SoFi in the App Store and trust them with their money through their own journey. But that fundamental, benefit in that company is what's going to push the stock higher. And I don't care if the stock sinks, if we're seeing fundamental improvement. I've gone from, the stock continuously seeing more members, people putting in more money into the SoFi platform, and the stock end up falling to 4. But the reason why my conviction grew during that time is because of me doubling down on the fundamental analysis as best as I know how to do it, But I'm learning. I promise you guys, I'm going to be a lot better at this at 38 than, now at 28. But that's the great thing about investing. It's a lifelong journey, unlike other sports or things that you can get into where your prime might be whenever you're in your early 20s. And the best people at the game are in their early 20s. The best people in investing are 60, 70, 80, and 90. I mean, this game only gets more, or you only get better with time, right? You use all that past experience to look at technology in a new way, look at valuations, look at leadership, and you sort of get a feel for these things over time. The price targets are now becoming stock goat price numbers. You know what? The funny thing is that SoFi is constantly evolving, okay? Compounding levels of returns add on. And if they are going from growth of 22% like they did last year, and now they're potentially going to grow at 40+% this year, that's accelerated growth with higher margins. One of the first things that I say whenever I wanted to make that growth investing masterclass was that if you have those two S curves growing on top of each other, expanding, not just revenue growth. I mean, you need revenue growth for any growth company, but accelerating growth. Okay, not the actual number, the growth rate accelerating on top of expanding margins. That's how you find extremely good companies. Only few can do that, but SoFi is doing that. Okay, we saw that last quarter. That's why we're essentially since the loan platform business of Q3 of 2024, the stock has went from $7 to 28. Okay, back then I said this product is going to change SoFi completely, and it's exactly what we're seeing. So I am very confident that SoFi is different, is accelerating, is worth a premium. What I don't want to do is, set a far out target, something that's not achievable. And then whenever it starts to get there, push my target even further because I always need a 3 or 4 or 5x. Like I'm not actually trying to do that. I just think what's going to happen is that EPS, Wall Street is looking at 31 cents, giving this a multiple price to sales about 11 times. You see other names like Robinhood that have been able to accelerate earnings, accelerate growth rates, show that they can continue to do this and innovate. I think their price to sales like 36x, something like this, something insane. Like I'm not looking to replicate that with SoFi, but I do think that they deserve a multiple for continuous execution and growing faster than what I even expected. I've had to adjust my 2025 and 2026 targets every quarter. Does that not deserve a premium? So, yeah, there is a lot of talk right now, Paul, about Galileo potentially adding a top 5 bank. This is quite interesting. So there was a report that came out, thanks to Timothy Sweeney, who actually found this. We can, let me bring up his X account really quick. Tim Sweeney's been on the channel a couple of times. He's a, great person to follow, but he actually found this article out of Charlotte, North Carolina, where Galileo is potentially looking to expand and add, 225 jobs to this area. Now, there's some people that are speculating that is a major financial hub for a lot of financial institutions. Things like Citigroup, Truist. There's another big one as well that's headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina. But this 225 jobs is huge, considering that Galileo potentially only has 500-600 people that work at that business. And we've seen a big slowdown in their hiring recently. But if they landed a big customer, there could be massive amounts of hiring there. Okay. So we could end up seeing a large customer come onto the platform. That's on top of the United and the Southwest that bring on, potentially tens and tens of millions of new members through debit cards. Charlotte's a banking capital. Yeah, very interesting. Okay. Yeah, someone said crypto summit update. Yeah, so the Federal Reserve meeting did end up happening. I didn't see a lot from it, unfortunately. I didn't have time. I was quite busy today. But the one thing that I did end up hearing about was the Federal Reserve looking into creating payment accounts that would grant crypto and fintech companies access to Fed payment rails. I mean, they are fully looking into crypto, realizing that traditional finance and crypto are coming together. I think another question is, what does that lead to the, fintech names going more towards traditional finance as well? The names like Coinbase creating equity trading platforms, they've asked for regulation there. We'll end up seeing. But and I think B-Dubs is talking more about SoFi, but I think across the board for crypto names and BMNR and stablecoins and all of these things, wind on your back is what you want. Tailwinds on every investment that you can look for. And right now, SoFi has many of them. A lot of the crypto names have huge tailwinds. And like Brian Armstrong just recently said, most people that use crypto won't even know they're using it. That's how you know that crypto has become mainstream. It's more of a back-end product is what people are looking at it right now. I mean, it's a technology for banks. They're going to say things like, hey, if you want to send money abroad, if you want to send money account to account, that's instant transfer. That's the part that you need to know. But the part that SoFi is going to handle is potentially turning that money into Bitcoin and then sending it to someone in Mexico or Europe for, essentially $1 to send, 300 plus bucks over to another person. You won't even know you're using crypto, but they do. And that's the important part. It's not crypto, it's the blockchain. Semantics, okay? Call it what you want, but they are using Ethereum. They are using Bitcoin. I don't know why I said it like that. So the reason why I also talk about the actual crypto coins is because I think there is ways to benefit by investing in those types of coins if you see adoption continue to increase. New Trump tweet. Let's see. Is he sinking the markets right now? Let's take a look. New tariffs on China will raise to 155% effective November 1st. Yep. I mean, honestly, guys, I don't get worried about these types of things. I think these are massive bargaining chips. We'll have to see how it ends up playing out. It turns out that the massive April time where, what was it called? Not liquidation day. I forget. Someone's going to put it in chat. But a lot of that ended up being, overblown and actually a big buying opportunity. So, I really think the taco trade has worked out very well, and Trump's going to do Trump things. Big negotiator. Let's see what China has to say. Okay, there was another tweet by Trump, but it's not related to anything really. Not in markets. Okay. I'm tired of this. Yeah, I mean, there can definitely be probably some level of like tariff fatigue, probably thinking that there's going to be tariffs, there's not going to be tariffs, there's going to be tariffs. It's 50%, it's 100%, it's 155, whatever. We'll see how it shakes out. The thing is that I try to invest in the right companies so then you don't have to time these types of events. If you're in a speculative name and you're playing off of some sort of greater fool theory where you see someone else and you go, oh, well, that guy's dumber than me, so he's going to buy this from me at a higher price, and then that's going to be my exit strategy. That's not a great way to play this, okay? You end up buying a name like Amazon and the market doesn't take to it immediately. Well, you're still holding on to Amazon. So if you have to go through some sort of drought a little bit, at the end of the day, you know that they're going to put up higher sales the next quarter. They're probably going to expand margins. They're going to continue to advance their business. And that's exactly, I can't believe how much the stock took a positive effect to this news that we ended up seeing today. I've been shouting this from the rooftops. I feel like anyone with a brain has been, that if we're talking about all of these robot efficiencies and just more investment going towards humanoid robots, and Jensen talking about it on stage, you would think that the market would give some sort of premium to a name like Amazon having the most amount of robots out and working today, over 1 million now. But what they said is that Amazon plans to automate up to 75% of its US operations, potentially replacing over 600,000 jobs by 2033. Internal documents suggest about 160,000 roles could be cut by 2027, saving the company $12.6 billion and roughly 30 cents per item handled. Now, I think they'll do less firing than people suggest and just more robots, essentially taking over the amount of the total amount of packages handled, just lowering the amount that humans end up doing it and more that robots do it. So less hiring, but also not needing as much firing. But this is the advantage that Amazon has. I mean, their ability to pull strings on margin is ever increasing with full self-driving, with robotics, with artificial intelligence handling a lot of the coding, a lot of the manual work, data entry, all of this stuff, improving advertisements. Every part of Amazon's business is benefiting from the technology advancements that we've been seeing over the last few years, okay? Including what's happening on the cloud. It's not, maybe they still have more to do. I'd love for the internet not to shut down whenever they make a mistake. But yeah, Amazon's an amazing name. Is that their actual robot? Yes. The one on screen, yes. They're not optimizing to look a certain way. They're optimizing them to lift 40 to 50 pounds and be able to place them and scan a barcode and these sort of things. The ones that are optimizing for the looks and how cool they are the ones that want, one, catchy headlines, and then two, for them to be put in other people's houses, right? So Optimus and Figure AI and 1X and Aptronic and these sort of ones need to, sort of focus on how they look. Amazon is okay with making a bunch of Roombas that can lift pallets because they're not meant to be seen by anyone anyways. Until you have an Alexa robot that's going into your house, we're fine with creating Roombas that lift pallets. Why are you not holding BMNU if bullish on BMNR? This is the exact thing about, you have decay from holding on to this. You're paying for someone else to set up those levered trades. It's not great. If in fact, if you do want some of these levered trades, it's probably just best that you end up getting some form of a future or leap or something like this. I would not end up playing BMNU. I think that the decay is way too strong. They're actually not great investments long term. So if you have some sort of alpha in the very, very short term, sure, it's an easy way to play it, but I would never touch these 2x levered or 5x levered. That's been the new thing. 3 and 5x levered AMD and Tesla and Nvidia. Yuck. Okay. Another thing that's very difficult for people whenever they're buying, or not difficult, but just something stressful about holding on to those funds, is that if you have a 5x levered AMD or BMNR, if we end up seeing a 20% drop on the day on those funds, okay, or like on BMNR, what happens to a 5x levered trade? It drops by 100%. Okay. How does something recover from a 100% drop? It doesn't. It dies. So you got to worry about those levered funds that they can, because they can't take you into negatives because they don't have leverage on you. You're just buying into an ETF. So they just die. So I don't like playing them. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it can. Yeah. A 20% dip on the underlying asset of BMNR would bring 20x or 20% to a 5x, which is 100%. Tanner, how could you miss Beyond? I don't eat vegetables for burgers. I eat meat. Bullish meat. However, I have had some Impossible burgers or Beyond. I forget which one I had, and they were all right. I mean, in terms of what they don't taste like meat, but it just tastes like a product that could be tasty, I guess. But then, not even sure the health benefits are even there. So I don't really believe in it. And are you vegan? Not even remotely. I'm closer to a carnivore than I am a vegan. I'm not a carnivore, but why are you bullish on crypto right now? The lot of regulatory change, Genius Act, Clarity Act, the Federal Reserve talking about, using more stable coins, tokenization of assets, more utility equals price go up. So you think BMNR is just a short-term trade then? I have an outprice target of $75. I don't know how you got that at all from what I said. I actually said quite the opposite. I said, if you think it's a short-term trade, then maybe you can play, something like BMNU. But I'm not playing it because I look at every single one of my trades as very long-term, Got no feelings for gold. I don't want gold. Good luck to the people who do have. I mean, I don't think you're going to be placed wrong in gold. I mean, gold's going to do fine, but yeah. How are you? Good. Guys, whoever uses Twitch, please help a brother out. If you could go over there, I think I need like 10 people in one stream or something like this. If anyone does have Twitch, just for one more stream, I think I need that in order to hit my goal. That would be awesome, especially considering that YouTube just pulled down one of my videos. I need to make sure that I'm not on exclusively on one platform. Kind of feeling not diversified enough. Do you also have a Kick? I think I've created a Kick account, but I don't stream to Kick. They don't have same username. Yeah, I actually meant to post the link in my description just for this video because of YouTube pulling me down, but I didn't. Let me go to the channel. My camera's just in my way. Oh, look at that. Thank you, boys. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah. Twitch has had big drama. Well, my understanding is that Twitch has had big drama from TwitchCon or whatever. They weren't protecting some of the creators, the female creators that were going, but I don't know about the drama actually on the platform. I don't know. I don't potentially look into it enough. Okay, thanks guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Do I have an OnlyFans? No OnlyFans, Jared. Thank you. Okay, Tanner, my question on blockchain and Galileo Technisys effects on vertical stacks for big banks. Let's see. Where did you post that? Like, would top banks need a full backend stack, or would they just develop to the blockchain and skip the vertical integration of Galileo and Technisys? No, I honestly, that's something that I would need to learn more of. You know, I'm not an engineer, but my understanding is like you're more replacing the actual payment rails than you are the actual user experience, user interface on top of that. So does Visa and MasterCard replace what Galileo and Technisys are doing? No. Okay, so my understanding is that, at least for now, Galileo and Technisys are still going to be worked, like they are still going to help with crypto solutions. And in fact, it's actually a product of Galileo's. Now, if there is more building to be done, like some sort of L2 on Ethereum, my understanding would be that Galileo would also try to create that themselves, create sort of a Galileo USD. By the way, that is being created. Don't forget the trademarks that we ended up seeing before. The SoFi trademarks, they were looking at some sort of SoFi USD, Galileo USD trademarks for stablecoins. So they are thinking about it. Let's see if I can find. So I know that the SoFi Insider ended up talking about this. Yeah, look at this. You can tell that it's still early because they did a couple of them: SoFi USD, SoFi USD, SFD, SFUSD. But they ended up looking at a bunch of different trademarks. These are all saved for them now: deposit coin, reserve coin, payment coin, SoFi wallet, SoFi Pay and Save. You know, and then we also saw things that were also very weird. This was from a while ago, August 15th. SoFi AI expense czar, SoFi AI Doge, SoFi debit coach, financial autopilot, invest coach, get your money right coach, SoFi Doge czar. Very weird. So, you know, maybe that will end up turning into something, but they are definitely thinking about it. First time I've got you live. I'm an OG since IPOE. You've been in a lot longer than me, John. congratulations on your conviction. I mean, you've held through some pretty insane turmoil. Like an original investor from IPOE. Think about how much volatility you've gone through. From seeing prices at 28 to 4, back to 28 or 32, I guess. Okay. No way I'm sleeping the night of earnings. It's going to be a good time. I'm very, very excited to talk about that earnings. I think Steve is even going to be joining us live. I think he took the day off work. So it's going to be awesome. I hope. You know, it's not all the time where you get to hear from Anthony Noto and Chris Lapointe and what they're working on. Anthony Noto usually ends and concludes his speech, or concludes the earnings call with some sort of very, very powerful speech at the end. So I think last time he did it on the SoFi way, which was okay. But you know, there's been some more moving ones, and I hope that this time he talks about how they're going to continue to kill it. Did you see the new Chimoth specs? I did. How crazy is that? Hey, I mean, at your own risk, you can do these types of things, but yeah. Did you see that Navan was available as IPO access for through SoFi? What do you guys think about that? I've used Navan once in my life, and to be honest, it was an amazing experience. But I also don't know how big the total addressable market is for corporate travel. Like, so I haven't looked into it completely, but I have used Navan, and it was very, very good. SR, can I hit you up on Discord? Of course you can. If you have already, I might not have seen it. Yeah, I think you can just send me a message request. And then let me know if you've done that or if you've added me on that. Oh, SoFi, I think, has rolled out completely for level 1 options. It looks like they're posting about this on the SoFi page 5 hours ago. We're talking about expanding options trading in the SoFi app during tomorrow's AMA. Okay. Did you guys all get L1 options today? I know there was a bunch of people that got early access earlier on, but no, you're still not rolled out? Extremely large TAM. I sent you a message. You did send me a message. Okay, I'll get back to you later on, SR. If that's okay, I'll send you a message later. I got it though. Imagine the anticlimactic triple miss. Yeah. Good luck. The problem is like, I think Devin Ryan, my estimates going into Q3, I hope he's right. Okay. He said $971 million of revenue. I think I'm 11, 12 million lower than him. So that's going to be hard to see. If even they beat his estimate, that's going to be insane. But for the majority of Wall Street, we are still a far ways away from getting to where they are. Sorry, meaning like, I think it'll be very easy to beat those estimates. I don't think it's possible for us to miss. I mean, anything's possible, but not with the data we're seeing. Not with every financial name beating. They're not a unique name. Like what I find is like Netflix is a very unique name. YouTube success does not guarantee Netflix success, and just say, hey, everyone's at home watching stuff. They're going to watch, agnostically across all platforms or something. No, it's not really how it works. But with financials, it kind of is, because most times people are just looking for the best rate. And so whenever you see a beat across the board, it's usually just a need for more capital. Lowering rates leads businesses and consumers to potentially take out more home loans or more corporate debt, these sort of things. So Capital One ending up coming out today and just saying, hey, across the board, we did super well, triple beat. Another great result. This was actually management commentary from Capital One today after earnings, after the bell. Our adjusted earnings, top line growth, credit results, and capital generation continue to be strong. That was similar comments made by, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Goldman, Morgan Stanley. How can all financials do well? The only ones not are the sort of subprime auto loan dealers from, these smaller regional banks, which people had already told you to be worried about a year ago. Another comment from Capital One, because I know some people are investors in Capital One in this chat. The Discover integration continues to go well, and we are well positioned to capitalize on the opportunities ahead. So the CEO of Capital One. CET1 ratio of 14.4%. Average deposits went up 13% quarter over quarter. 13%? Is that just related to Discover? Because that's a disgusting growth rate. Interest-bearing deposits, the rate actually went up quarter over quarter. September charge-offs, 4.35%. September delinquencies, 3.89%. Yeah, they're killing it. Credit card loans were up 1%. Let's see where auto loans up 3%. Commercial. They don't do personal loans? Capital One? Or consumer banking loans up 2%, $83.2 billion. Okay. The segment things are just under different names. Gotcha. Okay. Will SoFi dilute again soon after earnings? I mean, that would be very interesting, right? Will they end up diluting? Is that bullish? Imagine they diluted after earnings. I would think, oh my gosh, the opportunity ahead is so insane that they just can't get enough capital. I do doubt it as well, Paul. I think 2 times in a row would spook investors, but it doesn't always, like I talked about this yesterday, but it's not always a bad thing. If they dilute again, it might be all for home mortgages. I think that could be a fair statement. Lisa says, I have level 1 options now. Congratulations. Hopefully you use the platform more. What do you guys think is, like, for my predictions video, do you guys think that I was off on any statistic? I think even whenever I was going through my own numbers, I think the only one that could be higher is SoFi at work. I don't think I gave enough credit to the promotions that they ended up putting out this quarter. And once I finished up the video, I was like, you know what? That could be a tick higher. But yeah, that's the only thing that I would change. Finally got level 1 options today. Okay, this is what I'm hearing, that it's rolling out to most people now. As an ASTS investor, I'm used to dilution. I find that different. Is that crazy? Like, to me, that's different. That would not be dilution that I would feel comfortable with. But SoFi is making a profit and margins are expanding. You'd assume that the money that they end up taking is actually going to do them more good. Yeah, we got Smart Card. This is another, talked about product that's coming soon. Crypto coming soon. Think that's probably coming December 1st. So we'll see some activity there for SoFi Invest in the financial services revenue in Q4. VZ Rover says, if SoFi dilutes after earnings, just make sure that you have some dry powder so you can buy the dip. Yeah. WTF is smart card? I mean, the truth is we really don't know. There was an old leak about a potential 5% cashback card that could be used to put into a crypto fund, a money market fund, or the S&P 500, and it had to stay in the SoFi Invest platform. Is that it? And the smart card name is reference to being a smart investor, saver, something like this? Who knows? Paul says, I'm viewing the channel on 2 devices. I mean, that's just efficient work right there. Thank you. You don't have to do that, though. You can just, the echo must be insane. Are you reevaluating the 1 million new members now that we know a record number of people upgraded to iPhone 17? No. Well, one, watch my video because I'm not suggesting that 1 million is locked in. I'm saying there's a higher probability that we got 1 million new members than ever before. And that it's definitely in the realm of possibility considering we saw, by the way, like 1.2 million downloads. Okay. It's not like we got 1 million downloads and I'm like, hey, they're all going to be customers. We got over 1.2 million downloads. So I'm assuming 20% of people upgraded to iPhone? I don't believe that. And just to put a realm of possibility, my actual member prediction is 980,000. I would do that, but I want my rewards going into QQQ. I hope so, because honestly, you're right. I think the S&P 500 is overrated, and the triple Qs is where it's at. I mean, it's true. It's not a matter of preference. It's just a matter of performance. I like that idea, but I doubt it. Dilution comes in many forms. What does that mean? Yeah, I need it in TQQQ. No, once again, I don't really mess with the decay on those types of funds. However, the good thing about those triple funds is that what I suggested, where a single name could have an extremely bad day, the TQQQ is, or the NASDAQ 100 is probably not going down 33% in a single day. If it is, you got worse things to worry about. Let's see. Kathy Wood dumping is bullish. Did she sell even more? Tell me she didn't sell again. I don't know what is... you would think like if you were to look at her before and you saw her selling for the first time, you'd be like, oh my gosh, smart money is selling before earnings. That's a bad sign. She probably knows something. But then you've seen Kathy Wood over the many years and you're like, oh, they just don't know anything. I've met some of the people from ARK. Everyone I've met has been very, very smart. They know what they're talking about. I'm not, someone has to call the shots. I don't know who that is, but the people who I've met from ARK have been great. She has good predictions on what companies will be good. I don't even know if that's true. Like, I mean, yeah, but her weightings on her investments have been off. I don't think Block and Coinbase and Zoom, and all of these have been the best investments for her to put the majority of the fund's capital into. And there's other ones that I'm missing that she's put just insane amounts into. What are some of the other smaller names that she's just, I don't even remember now. Let's go take a look. Roku. Yeah, that was the big one that I missed. So in her combined fund, where is SoFi? SoFi's number 30 is her 30th biggest position. And she just recently sold some shares. Good for her. Peloton, yeah, I mean, but yeah, Teladoc was the big one. Teladoc was the big one. She held that way too long. Roku, Teladoc, that was like some of her biggest plays. And then she did see Nvidia. She saw, obviously, Tesla's the one that's done really well for her, and she was right on, and there's no questioning that part. But she didn't go heavy enough into names like Palantir and Nvidia for sure. Like she should have seen Nvidia. Somehow she lost money on that name. But yeah. After SoFi, what's your go-to? I don't know what that means. Like Nvidia is a much, much larger position than SoFi in my portfolio. Shopify is a huge name for me. Bigger than SoFi as well. But go-to is a weird term. I'm not actively putting money into those two names right now. She's got your Shopify pretty high up there. Yeah, I mean, because it's an awesome name. It's not that like every name that she chooses is wrong, you know? But the way that she even plays those names, I don't understand. Like, I mean, I'm very surprised Kathy Wood picked SoFi before Tom Lee picked SoFi. Tom Lee in the Granny ETF should have SoFi in there. I mean, it fits everything that he's looking for. And he has other names that are not complete innovative names, but have high growth potential. Honestly, to be very honest with you guys, I'm not even sure I like the Granny ETF. Is that terrible to say? I think I see a problem. Like, I don't like the idea of constantly rebalancing. I think that's like the definition of cutting your flowers and watering your weeds. So if you guys don't know, the Granny ETF, which is Tom Lee's ETF that I think has like 3 billion in AUM, quickly grew to that rate, by the way. I think they have 33 names in the portfolio right now. Should be 34 if you pick SoFi. And I think it's every month or every 3 months, he ends up rebalancing every company back to the average, which I think right now, because the amount of names is like 3.3% or something. Yeah, that's the ticker. But the only problem is that the names that are running, like Robinhood, which he had picked, a real while ago, on its way up from $20 to $130, he's constantly sold on the way up. Sold. So he's just trimmed his share price from 20 all the way to like 135, down to a very, very small position. And then now, once it was at 150 and he constantly sells, and then going back to 130, he's like rebuying again. And I'm like, man, why didn't you just hold? Let it get unbalanced, because the winners, like, let your winners ride. And the names that aren't working, he's constantly buying more and more shares of a name that might not be working. It's good to buy the dip. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't mean that you're going to bat 100. And I think Tom Lee knows that. Like, not every single name in that fund he's going to do extremely well on. And he's trimmed names like PayPal and others that he had in the Granny ETF that he's just completely cut out. But all the way down, he just continuously purchased more and more PayPal shares because the rebalancing act. Well, rebalancing act, that what a crazy thing to say. But because of those actions. His ETF, his strategy. Yeah, I'm not just my own opinion. I'm not telling you guys to do or Tom Lee to do whatever. Like, he can do whatever he wants. Just that's my opinion of it. His ETF, his strategy. Well, I can't have an opinion. So he's a bad trader and a bad analyst. That's not even remotely true. I'm not going to let you get away with that. He's a phenomenal analyst. And to some degree, he's probably doing that rebalancing to help with volatility and these sort of things. Like, yeah, okay, he might not have the highest upside, but he's also not going to have the highest downside either. I mean, there's going to be some effects to that, but it does allow funds that have picked the exact same names and the exact same weightings at the start of when he started to outperform his performance. Okay. Am I buying Amazon? Yes. I'm not a big believer of watering your weeds. Well, I do buy dips. Okay. So it's discovering what's a weed and what's misunderstood. That's harder than it is than you would think. But I know very well not to trim my winners. I do that very seldomly. But yeah. And he knows that too. It's not like I'm preaching to the choir. It's just more of his strategy. Am I buying any data center names here? No. No data center names right now. The majority of the capital that I have anyway is all tied up in AI and chip names. So I feel exposed to that sector. I'm not necessarily dying for more exposure there. Yeah. BMNR has lost me quite a bit of money. Well, Granny ETF and BMNR is two different things. BMNR is essentially just going through the waves of Ethereum, right? So if Ethereum does go from 4,700, and that's where you're buying, down to 3,800, which is what it's done over the last few weeks. Yeah, I mean, it's not just BMNR's fault. I mean, like, Ethereum is crashed, but it's whether or not you believe that it's going to find new highs. And I think they're going to find new highs. And also, I get some people from time to time that I remember someone was complaining a while ago about SoFi stock being so hard to hold and that they had like an average of like $22 or something. And they told me this a couple months ago. I'm like, for years and years and years, this stock was at $4 or $5. You didn't believe in it, so you didn't continue to buy. Why didn't you sell? Like, it would have been more efficient for you to sell on the way down and buy something that you believe in than to just hold on to something with a $22 average through a $4, $5, $6 price range. So if you have conviction in your names, it also means that you have to, try to lower your cost basis somewhat, like, especially in a name like SoFi. So what I'm talking about, this will be more easily understood with a little bit of illustration here. But if you were buying up here and you got stuck with these bad prices, which happens, right? You get a $22 price, probably purchased an overvalued stock at this time. I don't actually think it was worth this back then. But then down here, you're just holding through the pain. You think it's going to recover to 22 and you're complaining. And whenever that person said this, it was like, here, like, yeah, it's recovering, but wow, we've waited so long. I'm still not even at 22. It's like, boy, you've had, years to accumulate a better position. Or if you didn't like it here and you realize that you're holding on to what you say is a lemon, friggin' sell it. Like, you've had so long to rotate that into a different position. If you didn't, thank gosh. I mean, you've actually outperformed the S&P. But yeah. SoFi is my largest conviction, and I doubled and tripled down in the 20s. What does that mean? You bought in the 20s and then you waited multiple years to double down? Cactus Jack says Canadians are polite. Cactus, did I hear you're working for AK Media these days? Paul, you're a little off, but close. Just slightly off. I think you're missing a pretty obvious name in there that you didn't say, that I have a weekly show about, and what was buying in the $18 range, and it might be $130+ today. Maybe, I don't. Duolingo. Yeah, maybe. You sold out. Sold out, eh? He's AK Media's CIO. I need a CIO. Okay, let's get back to some of the news. We did talk about Google's Anthropic deal, along with some of the worries about ChatGPT. Hopefully they can push out some sort of product that resembles having a sort of bot on the side that can interact with what's on screen. I know that people have made some extensions in these sort of things, but they don't work, as well as they would if it was completely native, being able to actually use the app, like letting that AI bot use the app. If Google did that, I would absolutely use that all the time. But hey. Tanner, are you avoiding covered calls on SoFi now because of your bullishness? Yes. We're very close to earnings. It's on the 28th. I've got no business doing covered calls. And who knows if it ends up running into earnings. We've seen that from SoFi a few times. It running into earnings. I'm not touching the covered calls right now. It's going to be pretty quiet on the covered call front for me, just because a lot of the positions that I have are, I don't think they're at all-time highs. They've been kind of stagnant for a bit. You see that in NVIDIA, for example. We've been in kind of this, range. But that could pop anytime, especially going into earnings. We start seeing some Mag 7 names say that CapEx is expanding, for example. That would just pop NVIDIA, right? So I've got no business doing covered calls, considering the premiums I'd be getting. Like, even if I extend it extremely far out and I'm playing with betas that are like 0.1, I'm getting pennies and could be potentially risking larger amounts, a lot more money. Are you doing predictions for new before earnings? Probably not. It's much harder to get news earnings. Everything's sort of quiet on that front. I don't get to see as much data on new as I do on SoFi, but I will have a Robinhood one for sure. I did end up getting some more data on Chime, so you'll probably see a Chime video from me tomorrow. That name is really, really interesting. I mean, I'm looking, and the only problem that I have with this name is things like stock-based compensation and some of these statistics where we have zero trend because they're brand new to the market. So that stuff scares me because I don't know, how much they're going to continue to dilute by. Are they going to, even now while the stock is so sold off, are you going to start to create a buyback plan, or are you so, new to being a public company where you're like, hey, why would we go public just to buy back the stock that we just raised for. I mean, that's kind of crazy as well. But also, you're half the cost of what you just IPO'd at. So maybe that's normal, you know? Um, but yeah, so I kind of want a little bit more time on Chime, but I also don't think they're going to stay at these prices for too long. So I don't want to wait. So very bullish data I'm going to talk about tomorrow. When should we start realizing gains for tax purposes? I'm going to make zero tax calls or anything like this. Like just even as a Canadian versus American tax code, I don't want to steer anyone a certain way. Yeah. Go talk to a tax specialist for your things there. Also, I want to do another fiscal Friday. Obviously, we have Friday coming up, but I missed last week. I got really into Chime, and Chime wasn't really good on fiscal just because there's zero data because they just IPO'd. But they've actually made a lot of really cool updates recently that I wanted to show you guys. Now you can see all adjusted numbers, not just GAAP numbers or even segment and KPIs. They now have adjusted numbers, which is just incredible. So if you are going through a name like SoFi, where, adjusted EPS, adjusted net income, these things are really, really important. And so having all the adjusted numbers on all companies is just crazy. They just did that. And then they also updated their, what was it? The industry comps. Now they have updated that. So the actual comps that they're going to show you are much more relevant. Like, for example, I'm just looking at SoFi here. Before it used to just show me like all the big banks and just financial names. Now it's actually showing you the comps are, Chime, American Express, Robinhood, Capital One, a lot more relevant names than what you would see. And this is across the board. Like, I mean, you could pick, I don't know, anything and see actual relevant names than before. I think that's really good. Some actual real updated names. So they just did that along with all the adjusted numbers, like I said. So you can see all the adjusted numbers. And then you can also click through and actually see what like where they got this number from, how they got it, and what the adjustment was. Pretty cool. Sorry. Advertisement over. I just it was fun. How is Public as a trading platform? Zero idea, Chris. I think it's decent, but yeah. Do we get a discount with your link? 15% off, Nathan, and a free trial to try it out. It is a premium platform. The problem is they're trying to replace Bloomberg and like literally whenever Netflix came out, the numbers on fiscal updated in like 2 minutes. Like, I mean, like insanely fast. Okay. So trying to replace those things. Bloomberg, I think the cost of a Bloomberg terminal right now is like 26,000 or something per year. Like they just recently increased their costs. Fiscal AI, I think, is like 400 or something. And that might even be in Canadian dollars. I might even be getting that wrong. No, I think it's maybe 400. So it is a premium platform, but it also has everything for you. I think to some degree, you need to pay a little bit to have great research, be able to find companies, get updated in real time, news, comps, summaries of all earnings calls, be able to ask, like if you don't know how to read a balance sheet, go ask Fiscal AI. They have their own like built-in LLM. Go ask it how to read these things, and specifically with the data that's actually on platform. Be like, hey, what's the cash and debt of this company, and how do I actually read this? And can you create me a chart for this, this, and this, and show me what that compares to this company? Like it really does help with people who are new to investing for sure. Tanner's live streaming him. Yeah, I'm your best friend. Yeah, no, definitely not a parasocial relationship where you pass me on the street and I don't recognize you, but you recognize me. That's got to be a weird feeling. Do they have an app? They do not have an app, not yet. Okay, but they are working on it. But yeah, very serious platform that they don't just want like. They're working on it though, but it was not a top priority. Let's see. Canadian Steve. Pulse now with the green name. Thank you, brother. I actually think someone gifted that to you. Shark Ninja, ladies and gentlemen. We were talking about this yesterday. Shark Ninja just recently put out a little new catalyst for us. Tom Brady is now an official brand ambassador. Does that mean that that the Shark Ninja people are going to prison soon? Little Sam Bankman-Fried tip of the hat? Probably not. But yeah, Tom Brady joining Shark Ninja as a new global brand ambassador. Is this the catalyst that we needed to get more of these products into other people's homes? Maybe there's a discount on Tom Brady now that he's retired. Another thing I wanted to talk about was Polymarket. They have this cool earnings calendar now where you can bet on companies beating on earnings. Well, going into Netflix, we had at one point 94% chance that they beat on earnings, meaning somebody invested a lot of money in order to make 6%. Well, I don't know if you see this, but they didn't win. Okay. Actually, it wasn't that much volume. 55,000 on Netflix. Yeah. All that money down the drain. Turns out that this was not an arbiter of truth. The collective consciousness of 55 grand, but still was not enough to, determine whether or not Netflix was actually going to beat on earnings. I think it's a true shame. Someone can tell me otherwise, that Netflix not showing their total subscriber count, it's just crazy to me. I don't care how big you are. I want Nubank with 124 million people. I don't care if they have 600 million people. Tell me how many people are using your platform. It's important for me to know. Okay? Somehow people have this weird idea that like once a company gets big, they no longer need to tell you how many people are using the platform. I think that's like transparency helps no matter how big you are. Everyone understands the larger you get, it's harder to continuously compound those numbers. But like, when do we get to a point where like, hey, you know what? Amazon and Netflix or Amazon and Nvidia are so big, like they don't even need to disclose revenue. Like, why do you need to know? You have EPS. Why do you need to know what the margins are? What? Of course I want to know how many members. That's your lifeblood of your business. That's the whole business. I don't get how people defend that type of decision. It's not like through Nielsen reports or something like this, we can see what market share people are going to Netflix and spending time on that destination. I don't know what my girlfriend is making downstairs. I think she's hammering chicken, but I think she's doing it with like two hands. I think she's hitting the chicken like it's shaking the house. It's unreal. I'm gonna have the flattest chicken downstairs. I don't know. I sold all my Nubank today. I chickened out, says Donaire Delight. There's a lot of food references here. Will Polymarket have a bet on whether Tanner's being late or not? I would love to see those odds. It would be like 90-10 that I'm going to be late. Jeffrey Dahmer has a girlfriend. Yeah, we just watch movies. I'm not like a cook or whatever, but I think that's a thing, right? You like flatten chicken or something? I think it helps with the tenderness. Okay, another thing that I wanted to talk about was the Fed rate cuts. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a freaking 90. This is small. We're at a 98.9% chance of a 25 basis point cut in October. We go to December, and 2 rate cuts is placed at 98.7% chance, with now almost a nominal percentage, but slowly starting to present some amount of sentiment saying, hey, we're actually going to get 3 more rate cuts, meaning 4 total this year. How many people are still in the Twitch? And is it the same experience? I know actually Twitch ends up like it's actually faster. That you guys are actually more in real time than others. 9 people. Thank you. You guys are the best. Tanner didn't sleep in, so he could do market opens. Yeah, no, dude, I'm not doing that. I care about my sleep. You guys wouldn't believe my sleep scores. Honestly, you wouldn't believe them. Like, I'm constantly in the 90s. You got to get your sleep. Sometimes it's worth it. The market's still going to open. I've got my investments. Like, my trades are placed. Relax. I don't need to do market opens. I don't actually have expectations for Tesla earnings, at least not yet. I'm going to read about it tomorrow before it ends up opening, but I will do an earnings live stream tomorrow. I do want to listen in on the call. I'm going to be listening regardless, so I might as well go live and listen with you guys. I think this quarter is going to be good because we still had the full quarter with sales incentives. It's about next quarter that I think is that's going to be the test. Okay. Dang, it's 70 minutes late. People say that I'm late. Why is BMNR buying ETH by a large amount aggressively in the recent days and ETH did not move? Because Ethereum is a $500+ billion asset. Okay. BMNR is still a small percent. So while he's buying, there could be massive whales trading the opposite side of this trade. And you know what's so fascinating about crypto? It's actually probably the scarier things that we have to get used to is whenever a Warren Buffett or a Paul Tudor Jones or some of these guys that like genuinely move markets, whenever they go and buy, we don't know. We see large purchasers, we see it in the order book, but we don't know who it is or if it's the same purchaser, right? Until the 13Fs come out, and we get that on a quarterly basis. Crypto, sorry, real quick. Warren Buffett then has to buy something. He knows that whenever that report is disclosed that those stocks are going to pop, okay? So he knows eventually those trades will just benefit from his popularity, okay? Crypto, on the other hand, the second that a large trade is placed where 100 million, multiple billions of dollars, tens of $billion trades are placed, people can see that on chain immediately. And so it's immediately flagged. And then people say, oh, this person's going long on this stock. People are going short on this position. And so you're almost front running those decisions because instead of people trying to predict what Warren Buffett is buying and then find out in a quarter, you can actively see the largest accounts and what they're doing. And so they can move markets instantly. If you guys follow on X, you can immediately type in like short Bitcoin or long Ethereum or whatever. You see 1,000 comments, people going, hey, another whale that has, 2 billion in their wallet just ended up shorting ETH. They just went long Bitcoin. They just turned off their short. Like they just closed their short. They just doubled down on their ETH position. And so in real time, people can follow these guys' trades. It just completely changes the dynamic of investing. It's super weird. Tanner, I just got McDonald's coffee delivered. Cheers, brother. Cheers. Good call. Can you break down how dLocal makes money? dLocal is a payments company, so they help send payments from, bank to bank and take a cut. Small little, toll booth in the payments game, similar to Stripe or PayPal or Adyen or any of these companies. Yeah. SoFi earnings are on Polymarket now. Ooh, let's go take a look. SoFi. What, guys? Hold on here. Hold on. There's a 50% chance that SoFi will beat earnings. 50. It's brand new. So there's probably zero. This honestly probably 625. This is literally, and then I guess the first order that came in was a no. 50% chance. Let's see what the EPS that they're calling for. Wait, we have to know. EPS of 8 cents. Whether or not SoFi Technologies will get GAAP EPS of 8 cents. Is Polymarket even allowed in Canada? Is Polymarket... Am I allowed to fund not available? Oh, it went up to 7. Which one of you guys just put it? It's now at a 70% chance. Somebody just one of you guys just took advantage of that double. Oh man. One of my European friends, we need to, like, maybe Neil or something can help me out. We'll have like a little relationship where I send him money and he places it on Polymarket for me. Then he sends it back via, I don't know, a name that we have in common. 8 cents of EPS. That's so funny. Let's see what else. PayPal was also in here. 51% chance of beating. Oh, sorry. It keeps flicking back. SoFi's at a 51% chance. Google 72% chance. Microsoft 50. Amazon 79. So interesting. Look at that. Which one of you degens just did that? Who was it? That is too funny. That's hilarious. I mean, but honestly though, like, that is the way to just take advantage of these markets. If you know that it releases like at 625, I guess, wait for next week on the stock that you like and be the first person to buy at a 50% rate. Am I wrong here? That's the arbitrage. Yeah, it is lame. Kalshi needs to come out with this. Robinhood needs to come out with this. And I'm only saying that because you can take advantage of other people that are definitely going to buy into that. As long as you're early. Hey, Tanner, what's up? When did it open? It opened at 6:25 p.m. today. So 35 minutes before I went live. No, that's not how that works. Betting $100 is not that you win 8%. It's that you would win $208. You would get your money back. Well, that's not. But yeah, you're getting the other side of the trade. So if it's at 92, then it would be an 8%. Why can't we sub to your channel? Because I don't have a relationship with Twitch, but after you guys had supported me today on Twitch, I should become an affiliate, which means that I'll actually be discoverable on the channel. I also think it might enable subs, but I'm not expecting a lot of growth on Twitch or anything like this. But I do want another place where people can find me, especially now that YouTube pulled down my video. I mean, that was just a shame. So yeah, makes me want to like upload to X and all these things. I'm like realizing how vulnerable I am to someone just like, pulling my thing down. So Kick, I've got nothing against Kick. But they don't have a working relationship with StreamYard, which is the company that I use. So I can still stream to them, but then there will be no chat integrations. Nothing like that. So it's kind of useless. What video? My SoFi prediction video got pulled. They pulled it down saying that I was promoting scams and guaranteeing returns. Like, huh? And then so I appealed it and I said, hey, I don't think I'm doing this. And in 10 minutes, they said, hey, you're right. Your appeal has been granted. Well, what's going on here? Yeah. As a frequent Kick viewer, you don't want to go down the degen rabbit hole. It's not that I would exclusively stream on any of those platforms, but if I have a free way to stream across platforms, I don't know. Somebody reported. I don't think somebody can pull down my video. I think so. If you want to get a little conspiratorial, I think there was a mass bot reporting of my video. I think it was very many people at one time reported my video. That's why I think it got automatically pulled down. And then the reason why the appeal happened so fast was also because I think the person who was reviewing it probably looked at this is just my opinion, because they unbanned me in 10 minutes after I put in the appeal. Okay. My video is longer than 10 minutes. So they didn't listen to the video. They didn't watch it. They probably looked and saw all the people that reported me were probably watching for 0.4 seconds, and they all did it around the exact same time and just realized that, hey, this is obviously some sort of bot attack. That's what I think happened. Because the appeal process, whenever I went to appeal the video, which I've never had a video get striked or pulled down, said this can take up to 72 hours. I'm like, I'm reporting on the news, not that video particularly, but most of my videos are just like in the moment stuff. Like if it's not reported right now, it's a dead video. Like I just worked on this, It also killed my video. YouTube ranks your videos based on your other videos that you have posted. It was a 1 of 10 video, meaning that more of you guys went to go click on that video in that amount of time before it got banned than any of my other 10 videos before it, which means it did very well. And then it got killed, and then they brought it back, and there was no change to the algorithm. They essentially just looked at it the way that, like as if the ban was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, no one watched your video for that period of time, even though it just looks like, views, flat, and then starting to get views again after. But anyway. You're stealing market share from AK Media, so he pulled it down. The high majority of you guys are here because of AK Media. He does the opposite. He gives me market share, and I hope to give him market share. I'll do everything I can for him. The guy's only treated me well, and I want him to win in every way possible. I don't think it was a myth. Honestly, I've got weird concerns that it's some sort of short seller or some negative thing on SoFi, just because it happened to the stock goat as well on another SoFi video. That's what makes me question, that type of stuff. Maybe it was flat. No, my video got brought back, by the way. They appealed it and everything, so yeah. Found Tanner through a mitt. Sweet. I apologize if you said this before. Do you think SoFi will get into the prediction business? I do. I don't think it'll be the way that Robinhood has got into it. But do I think that they will eventually let me play Fed rate cuts, Fed policy, stuff like this? Yes. Do I think it'll be a while and that's not going to be a priority at all? It's not. It's not going to be a priority. Do I eventually think they're going to get into it? Yes. I also think they're going to get into futures and complex option strategies because every platform does eventually. Do you think SoFi will get to $30 before earnings? I'm not going to predict that, but it absolutely can. And SoFi has ran into earnings many times. Found Tanner through BM&R. Wow. I don't have many good things to say about orbs just because I don't know it as well, but I have very positive things to say about BM&R and Ethereum, of course. Ever talk to Tim Sweeney for a one-on-one? Yeah, we almost all the time that we talk is, or unless you mean like for a video. I was in the middle of watching whenever it got pulled. Yeah, I heard that like the second it got pulled down, I got like a bunch of DMs, including you, Billy. And I was like, oh no, what the heck? So yeah. Anyway, it came back, and then whenever it came back, Billy also rewatched the video. So appreciate you. Andy, are you a full-time YouTuber? I don't like that word, but yes, I do make videos full-time. Just talk about investing and invest, and it's a compounding game, right? Once you get past the covering your bills and everything, and you have obviously a strong investing portfolio, you can handle any sort of problem that comes. Like, yeah, why would I not do this full-time? Why would I go into work and have other people complain to me? And I was a financial advisor before and listen to people say like, I don't know, just complain and bicker and, whatever. It's just not what I would, it's not what I would want to do. And I like that job as like, I didn't even mind it too much, but I definitely like working on my own schedule for you guys. Like this is a dream job that you guys have allowed me to do. And I'm forever grateful. We can also complain. Yeah, but I find it fun. I find it fun because I'm not arguing with you guys on like a one-on-one basis. I'm arguing with like an audience. Like I feel like sometimes, we're in the Coliseum and then people go back and forth and then they're all just cheering, or some people don't like what I say, or like, I don't know. It's like a little bit more fun. It feels a little bit like debate. Could you survive as a full-time YouTuber if you didn't have a portfolio? Probably. But The investing's the key. That's the key. And that's the interesting part, and why I really wanted to do YouTube is like I was doing all this work anyway. You know, it's not like I was building the spreadsheets before YouTube. Like I had to understand if the companies were growing. So might as well show off the work because that's like my dividend, you know? We can't give them write-ups for being late. Yeah. Now you guys know how I've lost all my jobs in the past. No, I'm actually like, I was never late, like never. And actually, well, while I was a financial advisor, I still technically worked for myself and had my own book of business. So there was no being late. Like if I didn't show up for work, I just didn't, you know, I wouldn't get any new clients. Like I would just, yeah. So I'd have to answer calls and everything like this. Like I was my own boss, essentially. But still, it's a lot of dealing with annoying people that, you know, might have money. Bitcoin is crashing. How low do you think it goes? I apologize that you donated for this answer. I have zero clue. It's like the most speculative. Like obviously there might be some TA to the way that Bitcoin trades, but it's tied to nothing. So I do think that Bitcoin sentiment is going to continue to climb and that more and more people will invest in Bitcoin. But the price action between then and now, I don't know. Hold on tight. No, I didn't see the DraftKings acquisition. Let's see. Railbird. DraftKings acquires Railbird to advance future growth in prediction markets. I mean, yeah, that is, I could have guessed it whenever you said it. Acquisition provides technology licensing experience to support DraftKings' long-term ability to deliver and operate a best-in-class product. Today announced the acquisition of Railbird Technologies, wholly owned subsidiary, Railbird Exchange. How much was this? Because I bet a name like this is probably what Robinhood was looking at. Like it doesn't need to be a Kalshi or a Polymarket. It could be a much smaller name that has the tech and the licensing. Novel contracts, user-friendly, regulated. Cool. Cool. However, like, why can't I just like see it? Oh, coming soon. Ah, markets are coming soon. I hope they didn't pay a lot for this. But I guess it's licenses first. This is a transformational moment for our company, and we're thrilled to be a part of the future of DraftKings. I honestly think this is so much more bearish for DraftKings than anything. Did the stock go down on this? Stock was flat. I honestly would put the stock down because I think that this is an admission that it is very... Wow, the stock was actually up decently on this news at the time of the acquisition. It went from $33 to 36. I think that this is an admission that prediction markets go exactly towards their target audience, which is something that they and a lot of other gambling companies had said that they were not doing. What will be SoFi's next acquisition? Probably a crypto or AI name. Tanner for Prime Minister of Canada. Please call me the governor of the 51st state. I also, guys, I could never be, I need to do something small in life. You know, I like handling this small community. I'm not up for handling big tasks like this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got the dinner text. I got to answer. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you guys want some DD on a new name tomorrow, a name that I think could be very interesting to maybe see a recovery play on. At least that's how I'm playing my, not my portfolio, but a small amount of money in. If you guys want to see that, That's what's going to be uploaded tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. Consider subscribing. Bye for now.